Hello and good morning, listeners. Welcome back to Almus Market Mornings, your daily dose of global financial updates. I'm your host, Swaraj Rajagopal, and we have got you covered on everything from currency shifts to pivotal central bank decisions and important speeches. Plus, you'll gain expert analysis on macroeconomic data that's shaping the market narrative right now. Join us for this episode and navigate the markets with confidence. Markets are often reactionary and traders are often eager to book profits. This philosophy does not exclude any asset class with a free market price. Now, for weeks, there was a situation of dollar strength, and the first sign of weakness was observed yesterday as the dollar fell sharply. All major currencies did exhibit some relief rally, and in fact, even precious metals rallied. But now it's important to assess whether this was a reaction to the news of President elect Trump imposing uniform tariffs across all countries on critical imports and what kind of substance this announcement may hold for the longer trend. Good morning, JK. A short stint of profit taking, or are we seeing some topping in the dollar?
Good morning, Swaraj. Yesterday's update, we mentioned that dollar has been positioned long broadly by the market, and a lot of expected policy announcements from the Trump administration has been priced in, and their market can look reasons for paring back their positions and taking profit, and that is exactly what happened. Without you know considering whether the source was very strong or not, the market had reacted to the Washington Post story. As I said, tariffs being considered universally across all countries, but only on critical goods, and the market really reacted very strongly. Yields falling, and then dollar also falling. That is how it was. In fact, yesterday was the day when a lot of news was in the air. Was post this after some time after dollar had moved more than 1%, Trump himself tweeted back saying that this story is wrong, and it is just an example of fake news. So the market has partially reversed. Now, uh, the point is, market not needed a reason to take profit, and Washington Post story provided that. And in fact, not just the story itself, but there are views emerging from many of the respected analysts and economists that these Trump's policies may not prove inflationary, and one of them being an inflationary voice of Mr. Bernanke, the former chairman of Federal Reserve, who said that Trump's policies, whatever their merits on public finance grounds, probably will be modest in terms of their effect on inflation rate. And that takes the wind out of the inflationary story and the higher yields in the US. And that actually makes the reversal in the dollar somewhat sustainable, although we are still, we have many other factors which are going for the dollar, the growth factor in US, and the weak growth in the other regions. Now, speaking of central bankers, we also had our own deputy governor of RBI, whose statements were uh, uttered by Bloomberg, and he was talking about the volatility in market, in the Indian rupee market being killed. And his own words was that you don't need to kill volatility to manage excess volatility. RBI must allow some baseline volatility because it maintains certain level of private hedging. And the important statement that he made was that no matter what your stock of reserves is, if you lose a very big quantity of it in a short period, it doesn't send a good signal to the market. Now, this is a very important statement because we have been talking about how the RBI's reserves have dropped substantially from a high of 704 billion to 640, not including the forward book where they are also short about $49 billion. So even the uh, you know market is also aware of these factors. That is the reason why rupee has been constantly pushing towards its new lows. Of course, after the Trump news, even the rupee had reacted a bit in the offshore market, and from around 80 plus, which was a new low for the rupee, it had come down about 12 paisa, and now it has retraced partially out of that. So, dollar index itself had moved down more than 1%, and the reason was not just these stories coming in the press, but also the German inflation, which had actually risen strongly in December, exceeding forecasts and reaching a 11-month high. Latest data signaling a persistent challenge to policymakers at the European Central Bank. Now, that also marked third consecutive month in which the German inflation was back above the European Central Bank's 2% target. Now, ECB policymakers have been looking to cut rate to support growth, but if inflation stays high persistently, their hands will be constrained. Definitely, it takes out any possibility of 0.5% cut, for which a minority in the market is still, hoping for, but that is definitely not going to happen. In fact, we also had a growth number from Spain, which was very strong, and these things do not support a very deep cuts immediately from ECB. They will be measuring the incoming data much more closely before they go in for cut. And in fact, recently one of the ECB members himself had stated that euro's weakness is one of the consideration that they will have when they are considering the monetary policy. So, of course, apart from euro, we also had other currencies react. GBP, which had touched 1.24, a multi-month low, went as high as 1.2570. Dollar yen dropped to 156 half, but now it has made a new high, above 158 in this cycle. And many of the emerging market currencies also strengthened. Notably, what yesterday also I was talking about the Chinese yuan move, which effectively has the impact on INR, moved down. I mean to say the dollar yuan moved down to 7.32, but again now it is back near 7.35, and so that's a very notable movement, because China is not only reacting to the tariffs, but also its own economic problems, outflows of capital, and also the further rate cuts that China is contemplating. So these are so overall, to take a view on the dollar right now, I think. Irrespective of yesterday's news, dollar could still have made some, you know, short covering, or rather the long cutting by the market or short covering in other currencies could have happened, and it can continue in the run up to December 20th. There may not be in a large measure, but then there can be some more pairing of positions, because until you hear actually what the policy will be, market may not be sure. Some seeds of suspicion has been sown in the market, although denied by Trump. You never know what exactly it will be. As far as the rupee is concerned, we made a new low, as I mentioned earlier, against the USD, but then again, well supported because of intervention from RBI. So it's a bit surprising because 80 was holding for a long time. So the break of 80 could have probably led to move closer to 86, but that was not to be. So because of RBS efforts. So once again, we are back to watching not only the global markets, but also the actions of RBI. Thank you.
Thank you, JK. And just, I think the overall theme seems to be a knee-jerk reaction to a press update, which triggered a profit-taking move in the dollar. When it comes to the other economic updates, we saw the German inflation, which rose in December, exceeding forecasts and hitting 11-month high. It's above the 2% target of the ECB. Now, the central bank has been looking for reasons to cut rates, but if inflation remains persistently high, it may delay some rate cuts. Even the growth numbers from Spain were very strong. So basically, a repricing in rate cut expectations of the ECB. It has also resulted in some support for the euro, which has risen. In fact, many of the emerging market currencies also strengthened against the dollar. Chinese yuan strengthened briefly to 7.32, but now it's weakened again. So, first, initially, we had a reaction to this Trump update, which was a press update, but which was later denied by the president-elect himself. So, a reaction to that triggering a dollar profit taking, which resulted in this kind of reaction across the market. But now, of course, we are seeing some sort of retracement. Even rupee had fallen to new lows, but the updates saw rupee strengthen in the overnight markets. And as JK mentioned, it has again retraced back. That's it from us today. Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow for the latest in the financial markets.